One day, while playing hide and seek with his little sister, Max sneaks behind his grandma's pantry. It looks dusty and uninviting from the outside, but that doesn't stop Max from opening the door. He peeks inside. What he sees makes him gasp. There's a spiral staircase leading down into the unknown. Curiosity overcomes fear. Max begins descending the stairs. Where do they lead? To a place more amazing than Max could have ever imagined. A magical world, full of sweets and candies. But upon closer inspection, Max notices something disturbing. The land is covered in trash. He continues on until he comes across a group of peculiar creatures. They have purple fur, big ears, and bushy tails. One of them is trying to open a stubborn jar of jelly beans. Need some help? Asks Max. The creature jumps and spills the beans. They're supposed to be guarding these jelly beans, but they don't understand why. All they know is that if anyone tries to take the jelly beans, they must stop them. But why? Max asks. The creature shrugs. Just because we're supposed to. Before Max can ask any more questions, the creature lunges at him, attempting to grab his shirt. Max screams and runs. As he runs through the candy cane forest, Max notices a beautiful waterfall up ahead. He runs towards it, hoping it will distract the creature. It works. The creature abandons its pursuit of Max and instead charges towards the waterfall, diving headfirst into its sweet waters. Max lets out a sigh of relief, but his moment of relaxation is short-lived. As soon as the creature emerges from the waterfall, it grows to a terrifying size, blocking Max's path. Max gasps. Could this be the end? Just then, the creature burps, revealing a small remote control in its hand. It presses a button and shrinks back down to its original size. Max takes this chance to ask the creature a question that's been on his mind since he entered this world. What's this place called? The creature thinks for a moment. Jellybean Jungle, it says proudly. And these, it says, gesturing to the jelly beans, are the beans of wisdom. Max's eyes widen. He didn't realize that there was a secret reason behind all of this. Now that he knows the truth, he feels a responsibility to help the Jellybean Jungle. But how? As Max ponders this question, he walks past a sign that reads, "Welcome to Jellybean Jungle. Please enjoy your stay." Below that is another sign that reads, "Warning, please do not feed the creatures." Max frowns. Why would people want to feed these creatures? To find out, he sneaks up behind a bush and peers around it. He sees a couple of kids throwing candy at the creatures, who happily gobble it up. Then the kids run away, leaving a mess behind. Max shakes his head disapprovingly. He wouldn't do that to these poor creatures. Instead, he decides to build them something better. Max gathers some sticks and stones and builds the creatures a house. It doesn't look great, but it's the thought that counts. Right? Wrong. The creature comes out of the bushes, its eyes blazing with anger. "You're not supposed to build houses here," it growls. Max backs away slowly. "I just wanted to give you somewhere nice to live," he says timidly. The creature softens a bit. "We appreciate the sentiment, young human, but we prefer living in the wild." Max nods understandingly. "Well, if you change your mind, the house will still be here." With that, Max turns and walks away. As he does, he notices a patch of overgrown grass. He pulls out his pocket knife and begins cutting it. Soon, he has enough material to build something else. Max sets to work, tying the grass into strips and weaving them together. He works diligently, determined to finish as soon as possible. Finally, he steps back to admire his work. He made a giant slingshot. Max smiles. This should make things easier, but he needs some ammo. Max takes a piece of wood and uses it to launch a jelly bean into the air. He watches as it flies through the air, then pops open like a balloon. Max grins. That should do the trick. He loads up the slingshot and aims it at the overgrown bushes. He takes aim and fires. The jelly bean hits the bushes and bounces out. A creature with a terrified expression opens the bean and stuffs it into its mouth. Then it runs off. Max laughs. That was too easy. He takes another shot, but this time the jelly bean hits a rock and ricochets off course. Max winces as he sees a group of creatures picking it up. They start arguing amongst themselves, each one claiming the jelly bean as their own. Max sighs. This isn't good. The creatures are fighting over the jelly beans. Suddenly, Max gets an idea. He runs home and returns with a bucket filled with water. He pours it over the ground, creating a small puddle. Then he places a jelly bean in the center of it. The creatures see the jelly bean and drop what they're doing. They all stare at it for a moment before beginning to march towards it. They walk past Max without even acknowledging his presence. They dive into the puddle and pull the jelly bean out. But when they do, they notice something strange. The jelly bean is transparent. They look at each other in confusion. Then they all dive back into the puddle and pull out another jelly bean, and another, and another. Max beams. His plan worked. The creatures aren't fighting anymore. He walks up to them and says, "See, there's plenty of jelly beans for everyone. You don't have to fight over them." The creatures look at Max, then at each other, then back at Max. They nod their heads in unison. "Thank you, human. You've restored balance to Jellybean Jungle." As a reward, the creatures offer Max a gift. They lead him to the biggest jellybean bush they can find and allow him to pick as many beans as he wants. Max smiles. He couldn't have done it without them. When Max returns home, he decides to share his jelly beans with his family. They all gather around the table and sort the beans by color. Max's mom picks up a red one and pops it into her mouth. "Wow," she says. "These taste just like Grandma's jelly beans." Max beams. Maybe Grandma put them there on purpose. From that day on, Max visits Jellybean Jungle whenever he can. He brings his friends along so they can experience the magic for themselves. Together, they explore the jungle, invent candy-based gadgets, and most importantly, remind the creatures that there's plenty of jelly beans for everyone. Thanks for joining us on this amazing adventure. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Good night, little one.